A few years ago, I had an opportunity to visit the North Island of New Zealand and stop at the South Island for a brief moment. I was enchanted by this place, and I promised myself that someday I would go back there for a longer stay. In February 25, I visited that place by car, driving almost 3,000 kilometers around it, and I called it the Island of 100 Winds. I began my trip in the city of Christchurch on February 14th. These tram tracks are in use. I will tell you more about that soon. This shopping mall had an Asian feel. I found here my favorite food, the Japanese ramen. About 500,000 people live here. It's a nice city, clean and well organized. I was tired after a long flight, but even on the first day, I managed to see a little bit of the city. I had to buy a SIM card for my phone and a pass for the city bus. This nice park near my hotel was kind of an open botanical garden. Christchurch has an interesting tourist attraction, a historic street tram carrying passengers around the city center in a loop. It reminds me a bit of the old trams of the Zero line in Wrocław. Remember the city of gnomes?
Something you like, want to check out, hop off at any of our 18 tram stops, take a look around. The tram should be along in probably 10 to 15 minutes to pick you back up again. We'll be on brief aside here, number 244, directly ahead of us. She is 8 days away from her 100th birthday. I'm going to buy a cake, and my 3D printer at home is currently working on a little 3D model of her to go on there. Don't tend to win. And the people who fix the trams get very grumpy with me when I do. As you can see though, they've lowered themselves to the ground, allowing us access through to the terraces. Home to a number of fine bars and restaurants to our left, but to our right, the Avon River, the Pakaro. Into the alleyway, coming up on our right. And we're pulling into a very historic little stop where you would have court celebrating Queen Elizabeth II's 50th year on the throne. So this is tram stop number 7 for the Salt District. Now that is a perfect example of this. It goes up about 28 meters. You won't spy any new buildings in Christchurch taller than that. Deeper than it is tall though, they needed to drill down 33 meters past all the swampy soil Christchurch was originally built on top of to reach bedrock far below. You'll find that's the case with a lot of the newer buildings in Christchurch actually. Something of an iceberg effect going on, more taking place below the surface than above. Decorations, that sort of thing. But of course, if nothing there appeals to you, the usual fare at the Art Centre, rolling on, Custard Square Bookshop, France's Nation Cafe, and my personal favourite, Fudge Cottage. They still have the underground cells they used to keep prisoners in though. Makes one wonder what they use them for nowadays. Armagh Street, main entrance to Tapai, coming up on our right, on the other side of that building from Cathedral Square, 2 blocks over. And up ahead on our left here, this little white caravan is Ice Cream Charlie. It's been Ice Cream Charlie here in the city since 1903. They're older than the tram we're traveling on board. Homemade vanilla ice, just like you have at home. And we're going to pull left here at tram stop 17, that's for Victoria Square. There she is, Queen Victoria, standing atop her loop. Plenty of other statues fell down during the quakes. Not Victoria. She stayed stern, steady, scowling down at all of us. Here at tram stop number 17. Coming up on our right, also also where you'll find our booking office. If you want to find out more about hunting, kebab, gondola, or restaurant killing, this ends our current 50-minute tour. You're more than welcome to stay on board all day long if you'd like. If you are departing though, then on behalf of myself, Liam, and all of us here at Christchurch Tramways, thank you very much for joining us today. We'll see you again.
There is a cable car in Christchurch called the gondola that goes to the top of the mountain. I attached my GoPro camera to the window to do a time-lapse. It was a windy day on the island of 100 winds, and the cabin was swaying left and right. After a short ride, I was rewarded with a beautiful panorama of the city in all directions. In the background, you can see the commercial port, and next to it, the Sumner Beach. We'll go there soon. The wind here had no mercy, even on a sunny summer day. This rock is in the bay, not too far from the beach. When the tide is low, you can walk there dry foot. When the tide is high, most of the area is flooded with the seawater. This rock is called Rapa Nui. Did someone say Rapa Nui? Oh no!
Mr. Bombastic.
The Riccarton Mall is a popular place to shop. I even found a Kmart store here. It's the same corporation that's practically gone out of business in the States. It's doing well in New Zealand, and as you can see, they've got plenty of customers. Dinner at Nando's was a nice way to end the day. Peri peri chicken is their specialty. Christchurch today is a city that's rebuilding after the tragedy of 2011. There was an earthquake here that destroyed over 1,200 buildings, many of them beyond repair. For this reason, you can find a mix of all the new houses here. The Cashel Street is a shopping area accessible only by pedestrians and a tram. Spark is a mobile phone network provider. I bought my SIM card here. And this is the Anglican Cathedral in Christchurch. It took over 50 years to build it. In 2011, the earthquake needed only 50 seconds to demolish it. It's closed today because of a lack of funding for reconstruction. Temporary scaffolding keeps the building upright, but the reconstruction is not progressing as expected. And this here is another church, which, like the cathedral, is surrounded by the scaffolding. The residential buildings, damaged beyond repair, were demolished. New housing with modern amenities is emerging in the city. And this is a new bus station in the city center. It's a public transit system. Buses park at the sheltered stops, and even on a rainy day, you can enter and exit with dry feet. The Avon River winds through the city. The water in it is really clean. I saw people swimming in the river without any fear for their health. Here, the city hospital and the Maori sculpture in front of the entrance. These are the people who lived in New Zealand before the Europeans arrived. It's a proud nation, which today has a respected representation in the capital of the state, Wellington. Christchurch is a city surrounded by the mountains. I visited the Kashmir Hill district and Mount Vernon Park in the south. At the top, I found the Witch Hill. I didn't see anyone flying on a broomstick here, but I was enchanted by the view from the top. Not far away, the Craycroft Reserve. They've placed a viewing platform here. It was a great spot for the time-lapse photography. The morning looked calm and windless, or so it seemed to me. About 160 kilometers south of Christchurch, I visited the town of Timaru. The beaches here are famous for the seal colonies, but they were gone today. I did find a photogenic lighthouse here though. And this rocky coastline is known as the Dashing Rocks. Do they look dashing to you? Continuing west, I found Lake Tekapo. Beautiful flowers grow on the shore of the lake and right next to the Church of the Good Shepherd. It's barely 100 years old, so it's not a historical monument, but you can see that it was built with the intention of lasting for many generations. It's an Anglican church. You cannot take pictures inside, so we'll only see the outside of the church. Lake Tekapo has crystal clear water and a view of the New Zealand Alps in the distance. Until recently, the water flowing from the mountains poured out lazily and flowed down the stony slopes of the Tekapo River. The natural runoff of the river was stopped with a dam. The water flows now through a regulated channel underground and drives water turbines that produce electricity. The canal carries most of the water to Lake Pukaki, where another power station is located. The Pukaki and Tekapo rivers join in the south and discharge to the ocean near the town of Oamaru. A network of hydroelectric plants provides clean energy for the entire region. This small monument is dedicated to the Collie sheepdogs. They are priceless in sheep farming. Finally, I got to my hotel in the town of Oamaru. I drove to the top of the cliffs. Look at the view of the bay. It was 4 p.m., but I still didn't need to wear long sleeves. It was windy, but warm, about 22 degrees Celsius. I found a steampunk Victorian district in Oamaru. It's not my favorite style, but it looks cool. Oh, another blast from the past, or so I thought. I found a Woolworths store here. Remember them? Well, it's not even close to what we had in the US. It's a food supermarket. I'm showing you a picture of store promotions with prices. A steak dinner at the hotel was a nice way to end a busy day. The meal you see here was delicious and inexpensive. I didn't see any seals in Timaru, but I had better luck at a place called Shag Point. A colony of seals lives here all year round. A short drive south brought me to a town of Dunedin. It's a good-sized city for New Zealand. The old-style railway station looks a bit like the one in Cordoba, Argentina. This one is more active though, and trains leave quite regularly. I like the brass metalwork on the doors. The interior of the station is covered with ceramic tiles from top to bottom. I don't know if this is the best solution, but it's definitely long-lasting. My final destination in Dunedin was the Scottish castle of Larnac. Of course, it's not a medieval monument, it's only 150 years old, but it has its charm. The castle's manicured gardens hide a very modern car park. The mist you see here is actually the inside of a cloud. The castle is situated on a hill, and on a cloudy day you can see raindrops moving horizontally. The interior of the castle has an original woodwork from 150 years ago. It made a big impression on me. The upper floors of the castle are brighter. Here we have the bedrooms and the children's rooms. Speaking of upper floors, these winding stairs led to the top of the tower. Did I go there? But of course. It rained that day. You can see the rainy mist hanging in the air. I booked an overnight stay at the Castle Lodge. The morning greeted me with clear sky and chirping birds. After a tasty breakfast in the castle, I set off south. The exit from this place was a tunnel of trees and a wrought iron gate. It looked better in the real life than in this video. I was getting better at driving on the left side of the road, but I was still nervous at junctions like this one. Next stop was the bridge and the town of Balkluta. The bridge looked quite interesting in the internet photos. In reality, it was just unsightly grey cement. These pedestrian crossings, marked with black and white posts with an orange disc on the top, are an absolute order to yield to pedestrians. It's not a stop sign, but if a pedestrian even intends to cross it, you have to yield to them. Here is another one on the left. Oh, I found a Subway restaurant in Balkluta. It's an American sandwich chain. Did I stop? But of course. Funny thing, they don't serve sliced turkey meat. Not far away, in Owaka, I found a museum of the first settlers of New Zealand. That is, the European settlers, because the Maori people have been here for centuries. Life for the English settlers was not easy. Things like boats or simple tools could be made locally. More complex products like medicine or even shoes were priceless because transport from Europe was expensive and took a long time. It was only in later years, in the era of the telephone and telegraph, that products arrived a bit faster. The internet and Amazon Prime came later, about 150 years later. Next attraction, the Cathedral Caves. This place is not always accessible because the ocean tides can block entry, but I managed to get in. The way to the caves is a squiggly path on the side of a cliff. I won't bore you with that picture, but I'll show you the beautiful vegetation at the top. I noticed there were no flies or bugs in the air. And we're at the bottom. These branches travel up and down. They serve as climbing sticks for those who need them. And the caves are here. When I read the name Cathedral Caves, I had no idea what it was or how big it was. Even though I went quite deep inside, there was still light in there. And suddenly I saw more light deep down on the left side. I thought there would be a turn to the left. Oh no, quite the opposite. The two caves are connected in a U-shaped corridor. The first one was dry. The second one was a different story. And this is the most southern point in New Zealand. There are a few more islands down south, but as far as the solid ground goes, this is the end of the world in this country. This group of trees hides a small shepherd's shed inside. The wind here blows mercilessly, so the trees didn't have a chance to grow straight up. What a view! My destination for the day was the city of Invercargill. It's a small town, but it has its charm. I found here a resting place of the old ships in Greenpoint. And this is the end of Route 1 in New Zealand, the Stirling Point. I finished the day at the Bluff Hill Lookout. In the distance, you can spot one of the islands I mentioned earlier. There is some tourism on the island, but it's a 2-day ferry trip. It was too complicated for me, so I continued north to see the fjords of New Zealand. I stopped in the town of Te Anau before heading south to Doubtful Sound the next day. I managed to capture a beautiful overcast sunset here. Doubtful Sound is a fjord on the west coast. That tour was a 3-part expedition, first by boat on Lake Manapuri, then a bus ride across the Wilmot Pass, and a second boat ride in the saltwater fjord in the Doubtful Sound. It took me a whole day. We set sail from Manapuri at 7:30 in the morning. The sunrise greeted me with a light show like nowhere else. I had 2 cameras mounted on both sides of the ship. Every minute brought new, stunning views of nature untouched by the industry or human civilization. This area is a national park, respected and protected. The fresh water in the lake comes from rain, of which there is no shortage here. Even on such a sunny morning, water collected on everything and everyone. And when there are raindrops and sun, sooner or later the rainbow forms. We'll see more of that later. This here is another hydroelectric power plant. Lake Manapuri is really deep, and just like in Tekapo, it's used to produce clean energy. We got on the bus and headed out through Wilmot Pass. This road is closed to the public traffic. Only selected cars and buses are allowed to drive through the national park. The weather changes very quickly in this area. A sunny morning suddenly turned into a cloudy and rainy one. And here we are on the other side. The salt water and the possibility of a trip to the sea attract tourists with deeper pockets, those who can afford a longer tour, say by a sailboat. And the weather changed again. These mountains are not very high, but they attract clouds. That creates many waterfalls. This one almost played a role in the movie Jurassic Park. Steven Spielberg came here with his crew, but it rained non-stop for 30 days. The crew packed their bags and went to Hawaii, to the island of Kauai, where the film was finally shot. The sun finally rose above the mountain peaks to give us a rainbow show in every way imaginable. The ship started to rock a little. The open sea was near. This rock in the distance is called bunny ears. When the tide is high, the rock is submerged underwater. And here is the Tasman Sea. From here, it's only about 1500 kilometers to Melbourne, Australia. On the way back, the captain turned off the ship's engines and let us listen to the natural noise of the waterfall and nature for a few minutes. This ship was a catamaran, which is not very stable in the stormy ocean, so we stayed in the bay. I found this place on my way to Queenstown. Red tussock is a type of grass that grows plentiful in this area. Insects and birds benefit from its abundant flowers and seeds. In the fall, when the grass is mature, it changes color from green to russet, almost red. And these flowers are known as hot pokers. They also attract the attention of insects. In the background, a flock of sheep grazing in a paddock. Sheep farming is a vital part of the economy in New Zealand. I've seen hundreds of sheep farms here. The Devil's Staircase is a rock formation not far from Lake Wakatipu. No, it's not that mountain. It's on the opposite side of the lake, right there. The clouds formed the shadow of a devilish beast with a tongue on the mountainside. Scary. Finally, I reached the Queenstown. Before entering the hotel, I went to the top of a ski run. It was a summer day, not a snowflake in sight. In winter, in July, skiers have a lot of fun here. I went to the top because there was a good viewpoint in there. The weather was great, and I had the whole valley in front of me. There was some kind of a structure at the top, probably a weather marker. The wind blew here mercilessly, but even in such a tough place, nature adapts to a hard life. And just like the trees at the slope point, the vegetation here is permanently distorted by the wind. There is a nice climbing path on the other side of the lake. We'll go there soon. I even managed to capture a plane landing at the airport. Air New Zealand has a nice black and white leaf pattern on the tails of their planes. The way down was kind of boring, but I was delighted by the view of the cloudy sky. Queenstown in Otago is a city similar to Aspen, Colorado. Rich people come here to ski and spend their time in the expensive hotels. The town is not very big. At this time of the year, the tourist market is geared towards the people with shallower pockets like mine. The downtown area was full of travel agencies and souvenir shops. I accidentally entered a high-end shopping mall. I saw a pair of jeans for about $500, so I left quickly before I started sneezing. I'm allergic to this kind of prices. The ski slope was here, and here was my hotel. And the climbing trail I mentioned earlier was right there. It's about a 2-kilometer trail leading to the top. I enjoyed the beautiful views of the forest and an easy trail, but I was, as always, loaded down with my photo gear. The climb took me more time and energy than I expected. However, I was rewarded with the proverbial $1 million view from the top. Ironically, when I went down, I saw a cable car on a similar route next door. This was my way to the top, and here, at the mountain next door, a cable car. I don't regret climbing it though, because I met two people on the way who, like me, travel around the world. My shoes were a different story. Luckily, I managed to wash them. It was just dust. Skipper's Canyon in Queenstown is one of the wildest places in New Zealand. In the 1860s, gold deposits were found here, which attracted many prospectors and led to the establishment of settlements. Today, the remnants of this gold rush are old mines, abandoned houses, and bridges. Getting to Skipper's Canyon is an adventure on its own. A narrow, bumpy road leads through hills along the edge of a precipice. The bus driver joked, "If you're nervous looking at this chasm, do what I do. Close your eyes." The gold deposits are gone. The only gold here comes from the pockets of tourists looking for adrenaline on this crazy road and on a fast boat on a shot of a river. We reached the water and they put us on the boat. I had no idea what was coming, though I noticed the bus driver had a devilish grin on his face. I had two GoPro cameras mounted on the railing and a Sony camera in my hand. I had to hide it sometimes because it's not waterproof, so some of the shots were not too stable. You'll see why in a moment. And off we go. I left Queenstown behind me and headed north. The Arrow Junction is a picturesque area that lies at the confluence of two rivers. The town is known for its crazy bends on the road and beautiful landscapes that attract tourists. This is where the climb up the mountains begins. About 30 kilometers up the road, I found the town of Cardrona with its Wild West architecture. The former Cardrona Hotel is now a cozy restaurant with a fireplace and a full bar. I couldn't drink any alcohol because I had a long drive ahead of me, but a latte and a cheese roll were a good lunch too. The Cardrona Whiskey Distillery was a stone throw away from the hotel, but I wasn't too interested in that. My attention was caught by the bra fence on the other side of the road. Travelers visit this place to see this unusual work of art. The brass that decorate the fence came from all over the world, and their presence symbolizes support for people affected by the breast cancer. It's also worth adding that in the Cardrona area, various events related to this initiative are held. Continuing north, I stopped in the town of Wanaka on the lake of the same name. That Wanaka tree is one of the most photographed places in New Zealand, popularized by a series of photos on the Instagram. It's a solitary tree, a willow that grows out of the water, creating a picturesque view. Its crown protrudes above the surface of the lake, making it look like a symbol of independence and the beauty of nature. In recent months, there has been a bit of a drought here, and the water level has dropped quite low. That gave me a chance to walk around the tree on dry land. The last stop on the agenda was the Lavender Farm in Wanaka, located on the banks of the Cardrona River. This place delights visitors with its peace, beauty of nature, and the scent of lavender that hangs in the air. The farm offers a selection of lavender products such as oils, soaps, and cosmetics. It's not only a place for lavender buyers, but also a tourist attraction. Visitors can walk wherever they want, admiring the blooming flowers. Thousands of bees and other insects were collecting their sweet reward. I dared to walk calmly between the rows of flowers. The insects were too busy with their work. I didn't bother them, they left me alone. The bees were constantly on the move. In this photo, I managed to capture one of them mid-flight. This shot shows 3 stages of farm work: green fields after the flowers have been picked, blossoming lavender, and in the background, farm workers harvesting their crop. And what is that? A door? As if on cue, the door opened, and behind it was more lavender. And even a tractor in the same color. The farm had a tea room where you can taste delicious local specialties, often enriched with the flavor of, you guessed it, lavender. On the way out of Wanaka, I found an interesting road sign. Oh guys, you shouldn't have. Pancake Rocks is a national park on the Tasman seacoast. They are soft rock formations looking exactly like pancakes, stacked one on top of the other. That day, the sea was calm, but on a stormier day, the water mercilessly destroys these stones. They're actually not stones, they're prehistoric crustaceans. For some reason, huge numbers of these creatures were trapped here about 30 million years ago. Squeezed and compressed, they got stuck in the ground for millions of years until they were recently pushed to the surface. During this time, they have fossilized and got mixed with the soft volcanic rock. Water and wind gradually wash away layers of these sediments, creating this incredible landscape. What we see here seems pretty and original to us, but in reality, it's a testament to the power of the sea and the wind. Even the rocks cannot resist their force. These giants, standing proudly in the sea, will collapse sooner or later. Punakaiki Cave is the second part of the park. The ocean has not claimed it yet, but it's only a matter of time. Here too, you can find the fossilized layers of shellfish. Cape Foulwind is another reserve where the seals live. The broken rocks give them a safe place to raise their young. Before I entered my hotel in Westport, I stopped for coffee and ice cream at Donaldo's, a coffee shop on the ocean front. It was delicious. I found many fruit orchards here in the northern part of the island, close to the city of Nelson. New Zealand is self-sufficient when it comes to fruit, such as apples and pears. Guess what fruit grows in this orchard? If you said kiwi, you were right. I always imagined kiwi trees as much bigger and thicker shrubs. They are delicate plants, looking like grapevines. I also saw hop plantations here. These plants are slender and tall. Nelson is one of the oldest settlements in New Zealand. It's an important seaport and a good-sized airport. The city center is a good spot for shopping. Here we have a travel agency. And here is another Spark store with mobile phones. You can find restaurants for every personal taste, flavor and budget in this town. These are sweets in the ice cream shop, and these rolled buns have a more savory taste. They were baked with pesto and cheese. The name of the city comes from Admiral Nelson, famous for the Battle of Trafalgar. There's even a monument here dedicated to this story. The Cable Bay attracted me with another stunning viewpoint on the hill. This is an interesting place because the road you see here, that small passage, is accessible only when the tide is low. During the high tide, this strip of land is underwater, salt water. In 2 weeks, I covered a distance of over 2,800 kilometers and made almost a full circle around the island of 100 Winds. The last stop was a place known to everyone who's ever used a computer with Windows 10, the Warariki Beach. To get there, I had to walk a narrow path from a parking lot, about 20 minutes. These steps are pedestrian crossings which also act as barriers for sheep that graze on this private land. The path to the beach was not difficult, but as always, I was loaded with the equipment, so I had to slow down a bit. It was pretty tight in some spots. And here, the terrain began to change to more sandy type, closer to the beach. A few more steps, another dune, and I'm there. This orange disc is an exit sign. The beach is huge, and it will be hard to find your way out without it. That rock looks familiar, doesn't it? Let's go to the famous cave. I imagined it would be smaller, a few steps back and forth. I was pleasantly surprised by its size and the amount of light inside. The tide was low that morning, and I had a beautiful weather. Guarariki Beach is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. I found the beach, I found the rock, and the cave. My blue Crocs made it to this wonderful place on the island of 100 winds. Here in the cable bay, the camera stabilizer started shaking violently. Here again, I couldn't stabilize the GoPro mount on the ship in the doubtful sound. In Nelson, the stabilizer started shaking up and down like an earthquake. I couldn't find a good spot to put the GoPro on the suction cup in the window of the ship. The last spot had terrible light reflections. Here I tripped and almost fell. Not only is this sequence upside down, I forgot to turn the camera off, and I recorded 16 minutes of the car's dashboard. These two shots would be cool if it wasn't for the people walking into the camera. People were swarming around this church in Lake Tekapo. I had to wait until they left. Here you can see people putting their lenses and elbows into my GoPro. It was mounted on the railing on the ship. People were not paying any attention to it. They finally elbowed my camera. Check it out. Here I tried to record a nice drive around the Larnac Castle. The exit was a beautiful tunnel of greenery, but instead of turning right, look, there's an exit sign. I went straight to the garbage dump. Take two was better. And here I tried to record a time-lapse of the drive down from the castle, except I set the interval to 5 seconds. The result was a useless, choppy video. In Cardrona, I wanted to take a 6-7 second shot of the hotel outside. A truck ruined it. And inside, the camera wouldn't focus. The pear orchard was pretty, but I couldn't keep my camera steady. And here I messed up the ISO settings on my camera. The image was grainy and completely useless. Same here in the cable bay. I wanted to do a disappearing act on the bench. Didn't work at all. Here the GoPro was stable, but as I headed towards the Wairariki beach, I realized I had forgotten the remote. I had to march back to the car.